Bonjour, bonjour, people. It's Jacob on the one up top. Hope you're all having a blessed Friday. Um, Normally, I don't do videos on a Friday. Normally I'll do a video called Only Fools in Tottenham, which obviously, as I've said on previous videos, there's always something foolish to do with Tottenham. But if Colesberg did Fridays when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur, there's nothing foolish, and I'm all right. I'm about to go for a walk with the kids. Go and take them to the park and go and play some basketball. But before I do that, I want to speak on the announcement that's just been made. The bomber, like they call, not a fake bomber like he did before with Morgan Gibbs-White. It's just been announced pretty much that Tottenham has signed Xavi Simons. Now, when I look at the deal, I think it's 60 million plus, any sell-on fees, percentages, and all that stuff. A 5-year deal with a view of him extending it to 2 years. Now, when you look at that as a deal, I think that's what would have been used as leverage to make sure that we get him over the line because, I'm not stupid. Like, Tottenham are a big club, but Xavi Simons would want to be in a position where he looks at it and goes, well, if I'm smashing it for Tottenham 3 years, we've won a big trophy with us or whatever, or he's just, performing on a big stage and a Real Madrid coming or a Barcelona or, all these other big teams, Bayern Munich and all that, he puts him in a position where he can go. But then if he gets to the point where he's, maintains it and loves it at Tottenham, he's on a 5-year deal. But then that also helps us because obviously we'll get the most money if he's on a 5-year deal. If he gets into 2 years and he's smashing it and someone wants to come in with a big deal, you've got to come with a lot of money. So yeah, all that hype about, missing out on Eze and all this stuff. I was just speaking to my best friend about it and I said, look, when we lost out on Eze, I was annoyed for maybe 2 or 3 hours. I had Gooners ringing me. I had, even neutrals taking a mick and all this stuff. Now, first and foremost, I was annoyed we didn't get hold of Eze because Daniel Levy was taking too long. Then when you find out he's taking too long and he's gone to Arsenal, cool. But obviously when you take yourself away from it and think, where are you going to get Eze in the first place? Not if the guy wanted Arsenal. So, you have to compose yourself and sometimes think like an adult rather than a child. So, within 6 hours or something, I was just like, all right, I weren't really bothered too much about Eze. It was more like what we're going to go and do next because the Eze deal would have annoyed me if we didn't go in for anyone else. But I was on a podcast the other day, shout out Spurs Kings TV, and they know full well what I was saying. I was saying, look, if you come to me as a Spurs fan and said, would I want Eze and Savinho, which was all the talk which was all about, or bring me a Xavi Simons or a Semenyo, I would have took the two in the middle. Eze would have been top shelf just because he's Premier League proven. So I don't like to have to worry about a player settling in. Eze's from London. He knows exactly what London's about. He knows what the North London derby is about, being an Arsenal fan. So you'd know the importance of it. And just because he's an Arsenal fan doesn't mean that he can't play for Tottenham. We had Darren Bent. Didn't do great, but he done all right in spells. We had Jermaine Defoe, one of our top goal scorers ever. He was an Arsenal fan and even still to this day talks about Ian Wright being a role model. So that's the only reason why he was top shelf. But if you're talking about talent and what can be offered, if someone told me I guarantee Xavi Simons was definitely going to settle in the Premier League, and someone said to me, Eze or Xavi Simons, there's only one answer. And at the time when I was talking about it, I was just saying be ambitious, and then it's like they were watching me probably because that's what's happened. We've got him over the line. So fair play to whoever is involved. I do generally believe that Paratici being back in the fold is somebody that's helped get that over the line because I haven't had the faith in us getting deals over the line with Daniel Levy at the helm, and then you've got people like Lange helping him out. Lange doesn't fill me with much confidence that he's going to get big deals over the line because I don't feel he's dealt with, big situations. And before he came to Tottenham, that was the same problem. But yeah, going back to the player, I'm very happy with that. I'm not going to sit there and say that Xavi Simons comes in and we start winning everything, but he's a marquee signing. And the only way I'm going to be happy with this transfer window is if we get Xavi Simons, we announce it today or tomorrow, whenever it's going to be. We get a good result at Bournemouth tomorrow. And then going forward, I need to still see some covering centre half. I'm seeing that we're going after Akanji today, 15 million. Go and get him. 15 million is cheap as chips for a very good Premier League defender. I think we were rumoured around Nathan Ake the day before. Akanji or Nathan Ake, bring either of them, because both of them can either play left side of the defence, and if push comes to shove, they can play left back. And as much as I love Ben Davies as a servant to the club, we're only a couple of injuries away from, having a Xavi Simons and having all these players playing, but then Ben Davies is at the back, I'm happy with Ben Davies for a couple of games in a back three. I think as a left-sided three, we can cater for Ben Davies, and I don't want to make him a scapegoat. It's just, when with Spurs, we're supposed to be moving forward. In my eyes, we've pushed Son on, who's been there for less time than Ben Davies, and Son did everything and more at the club. So, for Ben Davies, if he's somebody that's going to be there, be in the environment, help players understand what Spurs are about, cool. But bring me a centre half. Ben Davies can be in the changing rooms. He can play Carling Cup games or whatever if need be. Your Doncasters and all that. And we wish him well. He gets a testimonial. And then, I don't want to be too greedy, but if we could get another marquee winger, that's when I'll start giving you the sorts of 7, 8, 9s out of 10s. Whereas before today, I rated the transfer window at 4, and rightly so. The only person or people that we brought in was Paulinho, which we needed as a 6. We needed a combative centre midfielder. If Bissouma's going to stay, then that's his replacement. I'm okay-ish with that. Kudus, again, another winger that we needed, just a winger with a bit of dynamism, somebody that was going to take the mantle away from Son, because Son was our guy. Son, with Poch, Conte, everybody, he was the winger that we knew would carry the ball and either set up goals or score them. So a goal-scoring winger, another centre-half. When I get on podcast next week, that's when we start talking about your 8s out of 10s and all that stuff. But very good, very good. I know that Xavi Simons is going to do well. For me, he's a mixture of what Maddison and Eze were. So when I'm looking at Eze, if we'd got him, I was looking at him thinking he's not a number 10 that has properly got the eye for a pass like a lot of other players have, but he's a carrier, and Thomas Frank likes a carrier. We see it with Mbuemo, Sade, Wissa. They've got players that not only can attack, they can carry the ball, which I don't think Maddison can do. Maddison picking an eye out for a pass and stringing the ball together, there's not too many better at him than that in the league. But for Xavi Simons, he does both of that. So you can rely on him to be ball carrying. You can rely on him to also fill in the left. So if we're going to set up like we did against Man City, you got Xavi Simons that can fit in the left. He likes that left-sided channel. Sort of, if you play in a 3 where you're trying to break a Burnley down like we were the other day, you can have Paulinho sit in and have Papsar and Xavi Simons in this. You've got creativity, you've got someone doing the box-to-box, being a nuisance, and that's how you break teams down. We've got to have options because, Tottenham, for a long time, the starting lineup fully fit has always been able to take on someone because we've had the likes of Son and Kane and all that stuff. But one thing that has annoyed me is ever since Pochettino, we've never really had a team. Do you get what I'm saying? We're a team that, if it gets to the point where everybody's playing badly, we still get a result because we're knitting together as a team. And that's what I want to do. And I think that's what Thomas Frank's trying to bring to the Tottenham party. So, yeah, that was it, man. I just wanted to speak on the signing. Like I said to you guys, I want to do more videos surrounding Xavi Simons. Sorry. Got my name in his head. Surrounding Tottenham, transfers, predictions, all of that jazz. I'm going to be out there more than I've ever been. So, up the Spurs. Who needs Eze? Get me a centre-half. Get me a winger. And let's do Bournemouth tomorrow. So, look out for me tomorrow. I'm going to do a match reaction after the game. I might do a couple of match reactions on other games as well because we've got some big games. Liverpool, Arsenal, and I'll be watching that properly. You got the West London derby in the afternoon. I might chuck something out on that, depending on what I'm doing with my children. Then there's a load of other games. I'm going to be very committed to watching as many games of football as possible, and not only reporting to you guys about Tottenham, but about pretty much every club and every bit of big news that I can while I try and get on with my life. So Up the Spurs, Xavi Simons, Jacob on the one up top.